The Mayor has passed a municipal ordinance with regards to social distancing as a precautionary measure against the spread of COVID-19. Please ensure you maintain at least 1.5 meters of distance from other travellers and airport staff.
Not that kind of girl. Not that kind of girl. I need to know how you rollin', how you get down low. No drama. Take me home and meet your mama. Cause I'm that kind of girl.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Shayla Ryan. I'm back with yet another fabulous YouTube video for you guys. I am going to be talking about being stuck in Bali during the beginning of this whole pandemic known as, well, I heard you can't say it in the video, so you guys know what I'm talking about. I decided to take a solo trip to Bali. This was before everything kind of went down with the whole thing. I just thought it would be fun and cool to share my story. Before we get started, make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click on the bell to get notifications for whenever I post, because I have a lot of fun Bali content coming up and I have a lot of other cool stuff planned, so you don't want to miss it. So I plan to go to Bali because I had recently been through a lot of life changes, major life changes, which I'll speak about in a separate video. But I've been through so much pain and I just felt like I needed to get away. I needed to be in a different environment. I needed to be in a more peaceful environment. And I just needed to just be in a different setting, mostly, other than where I was, so that I can think clearer and so I can get ready for the next chapter of my life. I left on March 4th and I arrived in Bali, Indonesia on March 5th. And at the beginning when I left, you know, obviously I heard about this virus, but I didn't really, or the government or the rest of the world really didn't know that it would blow up to be this big thing that it is now. We've been through other stuff before, we're gonna get through it. Like, I don't think it's something that we should really be panicking about. So I went through with the trip, just like not knowing, not thinking it would spread, not thinking it would even become what it was. And I did enjoy the trip, but I did experience just like a lot of complications. So the first like 3 or 4 days actually did run very smoothly. I spent 3 weeks in Canggu and then I spent 1 week in North Kuta. And I really enjoyed both of those places, but Canggu was very trendy, like a very trendy place to be. There's so many trendy cafes and trendy shops. So the first few days I kind of just spent browsing Canggu and learning more about it and learning my way around. I would hire Gojeks, which are these like motorbike scooters, and they kind of take you from place to place. They're also super cheap, like you can go several miles and pay only like tops 70 cents for it. I was just using that to get like to and from destinations, and I was just pretty much eating like the first 3 or 4 days of me being there. Well, actually for the whole trip. I also got a chance, which you guys will see here, to just experience a Balinese flower bath. Now this isn't the most like out there flower bath that you can get in Bali. They have so many flower baths in Bali, but they are very expensive. This was one of the most affordable ones. I went to a spa called Tonic Bali, which is in Canggu, and I got like a Balinese royal package, which was like, I think $50 for a facial, a massage, a flower bath, and a body scrub. So I thought that was pretty good, because in the US you'll pay like $150 and up just to get the same exact thing. As time went on, every day things would change, you know. After the first 3 or 4 days of me being there, so maybe like at March 8th, March 10th, that's when stuff really started to go down. Like at this point, every day a new border would close. Like it was like spreading, and then we started to hear about Italy, how bad it was in Italy. Every day that I would wake up in Bali, I would experience another border closure, which kind of put me in a bit of a panic, but not really, because I trust God and I believe that He's gonna work everything out. But it kind of was startling, because since I've been born, at least, I've never seen countries actually close borders. I haven't seen airports actually closed, but this was all pretty much happening. But I was still trying to make the most of my Bali trip, because Indonesia at the time didn't have any reports of, you know, anybody being diagnosed with this. So I was just continuing my trip. So I did get to see some waterfalls. I did get to do like some tea tastings, as you guys will see. And I really did enjoy these experiences. These are memories that will definitely last a lifetime. And one of the greatest memories that I had in Bali was discovering a church called ICC Bali. You can see the clips here that I really got to find Christ on a deeper level while being in Bali, which is what I didn't expect, because as you guys know, like Bali is a mostly Hindu place, and it was just amazing just to be able to find other Christians and to worship with them and to connect with them. I did attended some connect groups while I was there, so it was really fun. I remember I met this woman on the trip who was actually my driver from the airport, and she actually introduced me to the church. And I remember she took me to the waterfalls one day, and I remember just telling her like, wow, things are changing really quick. Every day, like, people are saying flights are getting canceled. At this point, my trip didn't get canceled yet, so I was just like thinking that it might happen to me, but I wasn't really giving too much thought to it, because as a believer of Christ, you know, I don't like to focus on the negative things. It was very intense just to be in another country while borders are closing, while things are just happening, and my struggles that I was dealing with in Bali was completely different from what people were dealing with in the US. Like, daily I would have to figure out the visa situation, because at one point I just had it set in my head. After my flight got canceled, eventually my flight got canceled, and then I had to book another flight, and then it got canceled, and then I had to book another flight, and that's the flight that actually got me to the US and is the reason why I'm able to even do this video right now. But it was just a lot of things that kind of happened in Bali that no one would understand except the beautiful people that I met on this trip. What I loved about this trip in particular is that we shared this memory of panicking every single day, wondering what we're gonna do, how we're gonna get back home, if we need to get a visa. So like I was saying about the visas, back to that whole story. I was gonna get a visa so that I can stay an extra month in Bali because my flight was getting canceled. I was very discouraged. And then things would just change with the visas. Like the government, like the Indonesian government, things kept changing. Like first they said, you know, we need to get a visa at the immigration office. And then the next day they would say, you don't need a visa at all. We're just gonna excuse you guys. So I went to this visa agency that was supposed to do all of the paperwork for me, and all I had to do was go in for fingerprints. Then when I heard that rule, I had to go back and get a refund. And then on top of all of this, Bali has a day called Silent Day, which is actually called Nippy. During this day, no one could be outside, you couldn't play loud music, you couldn't transport from place to place, you couldn't have any electricity on. You know, I didn't have any data or Wi-Fi. Like, I heard some companies kept the data or Wi-Fi on, mine didn't, so I was disconnected from the rest of the world for 24 hours straight. So in the midst of everything happening in the world, we had this silent day, me and the other, you know, travelers that I met. And that was a whole big thing because we had to prepare for not being able to go outside for a whole day or communicate. So the supermarkets were full, not because of the whole situation, but because of Silent Day. Turns out, I actually did enjoy being disconnected completely. I felt like I was at peace. I didn't get any updates about what was happening, and that brought me a very special type of peace that I never experienced before because I always had connection to somebody. As all of this happened, I was just really trying to stay positive. But there was times where I was going in and out of it. Like, I was just like, I hope my flight doesn't get canceled for the third time. I had to actually I ended up using Garuda Airlines, which is an Indonesian-based airline. And I had to actually go to the airport because I spoke to them on the phone and through email. And they said they didn't have the same computer access as the people in the airport. So I had to make a whole nother day trip to go to the airport wait in all of these lines, get my temperature checked to get past security just to speak to the people from the airlines. The Garuda people at the front, like check-in desk, sent me to this other desk. And then like, it was just this whole waiting game of just like, and also me waiting, I didn't really know if it was even gonna be worth it. But turns out they were able to switch my flight and get me on another flight that got me home. So the route back home was from Bali to Jakarta, Jakarta to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to Chicago. So it was a very long trip back home, but I was very grateful just to be home anyway. I would have loved, my original plan was to go to Nusa Penida, because when I think of Bali, I think of Nusa Penida with like the T-Rex arms, like all these hiking opportunities, the beautiful beaches. I would have loved to go to the Gili Islands, but that whole trip didn't really happen for me because of this situation. But I still had a lot of great memories, and I hope that you guys are at least able to see that in this video. I still made the best of it, and that was the craziest thing. Was just also there was a time where I had to find a place to stay because I thought I was staying longer for a month. So I took a day just to go like apartment shopping, which was fun within itself, but it was also very tiring. I was just on a motorbike. If you were expecting to see like some blue beaches and all of these things in this video, you're not gonna see it, because at a certain point too, like as it got towards the end of March, they started to actually close beaches, and a lot of activities were closed. Like Bali Swing was closed. A lot of the waterfalls started to close, so I'm lucky that I went when I did go. But it wasn't the type of experience that you guys will get if you guys are gonna book like in 2021. But I do encourage you guys to just make the best out of any travel situation. Like there's always gonna be issues and problems. Granted, it will never be at this level of, you know, it will never be this extreme. But what it has taught me was that you have to appreciate the finer things. And I think that's what everybody across the world is learning. But I really learned that it is okay to just stay in my villa and enjoy the pool. I don't always have to be doing this big adventure. I don't always have to be, you know, parasailing or hiking. I don't always have to be immersed in those type of activities to enjoy myself and to be at peace with myself. I'm glad that I got to experience Bali, even if it was during a pandemic. So I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to visit Bali, leave a thumbs up, because that will let me know like you guys might need some more content to plan your trip. I think it is definitely worth it to enjoy your homes right now, but in the future, you know, 2021, that might be a trip you want to go on. And if you like this video, also give it a thumbs up, because, you know, I feel like my story has to be documented in some way, and I'm glad that YouTube is the way that I can document it. This is Tashayla Ran, and I am out. Peace. This is Tashayla Ran, and I just want to thank you for watching. I feel like I need a new outro.